to pound New Orleans.
A monster storm right now.
There it goes. It's still going. Look at that. Look at that.
Anywhere you are.
Heads up, heads up.
Let's get one of these surfers up here.
Trees being uprooted.
I mean, it is deafening.
If Ike had been the only hurricane in 2008, it still would have been a memorable season. But a cyclone like Ike comes along once in about 20 years. Ike slammed into the coast of Texas, making landfall near Galveston as an exceptionally large Category 2. The coastal water rise, about 15 to 20 feet, was in line with what you might expect from a Category 4. Offshore waves were estimated at 40 to 50 feet high. The pictures show the power of water. Miles of devastation on the Bolivar Peninsula and Galveston Island. Ike will most likely go down as one of the costliest hurricanes ever to hit the U.S. It's estimated that 40% of Galveston residents did not heed evacuation orders, despite being warned of certain death if they stayed. More than 80 people are confirmed dead, with hundreds still missing. Dozens had to be rescued. Some could not. Downtown Houston was not spared. Windows were blown out of skyscrapers. Then Ike moved inland, its remnants leaving wind damage in its wake all the way to Canada. Weeks of gas shortages were also blamed on the hurricane. Another hurricane that tested a city this year was Gustav. It was the first major hurricane since Katrina to challenge New Orleans and its levees. The second major hurricane of the 2008 season. It formed as a tropical depression on August 25th and became a hurricane in just 14 hours, tying Umberto for the record. At peak intensity, Gustav was a Category 4 with winds of 150 miles an hour. Gustav made its fourth and final landfall in the U.S. near Cocodrie, Louisiana as a Category 2. Baton Rouge, Houma, and many other inland locations in Louisiana suffered extensive wind damage. New Orleans escaped the worst. There was one scare when water began splashing over the floodwalls at the Industrial Canal. But New Orleans was well prepared this time. About 1.9 million people evacuated southern Louisiana, 200,000 of those from New Orleans. It was the largest evacuation in Louisiana history. And in New Orleans, buses and trains helped get those in need to safety. Police were also on patrol, along with the National Guard. Even though Faye never made it above tropical storm status, it still made quite a name for itself. And by doing that, made it right into the record books as well. Floridians will not soon forget Faye. It made a painfully slow tour of the state, dumping massive amounts of rain that caused damaging and deadly flooding. The Melbourne area saw more than 27.5 inches of rain. Cape Canaveral nearly 23 inches, and Tallahassee about a foot. There were also a record-breaking 4 landfalls in Florida, starting with Key West. Faye then turned its sights on Cape Romano, just south of Naples. Faye crossed the state, exiting at Melbourne, but not before strengthening over land, an unusual occurrence for a tropical cyclone. In fact, Faye was at its strongest over land. After making its way offshore, it made a left turn coming back onshore with another landfall at Flagler Beach. Its final landfall, the Panhandle, near Carabella. Other places in the southeast were impacted with high rainfall totals and flash flooding, making Faye one of the wettest single storms ever for the region.